Okay. Almost fell over there. All right. So let us get started in, let's see, where do I want to start, you guys? Sometimes I have a plan for everything but that. Let's start on the back today, if that sounds good. And if you want to just lie flat in a Shavasana, that's wonderful. If you have some blocks and want to make a little shelf behind your spine, I like to either lengthwise or horizontally take a block to the mid-back and then one behind the base of the skull. And it can be on the lowest and second, or second highest and highest, if that makes sense. You might be over there saying, I don't have all these yoga blocks, and that's okay too. So wherever you choose to settle in is wonderful. You can take some butterfly legs or legs just stretched out long. And just start to settle into your space, settle into your breath. And really notice all the variables, all the factors that you're showing up to the mat with tonight. I know sometimes in conversations, even at the beginning of or during a yoga class, we might get really kind of fixated on what's going on right now in the world. And it's so hard not to. It's really hard to sometimes break away from that mentally. And it's not necessarily that we need to break through it and break away from it completely, but how we manage it and noticing how things are affecting us. On one hand, we are used to this new normal somewhat, but then on the other hand, we've been doing this for a long time and there's still things that are unanswered. There's still uncertainty. So I've gone back to this intention that I keep going back to, which is acceptance. And acknowledging right away that that is so difficult at times to accept how things are. So with that acceptance, without trying to avoid or manipulate change that we may or may not be able to achieve, sitting with what is, whether it's within a yoga pose or whether it's within a pandemic, being able to sit with it. And as I thought about this acceptance today, I found a quote, and it was attributed to Robert Frost, but really it's kind of a derivative, so I'm just going to paraphrase since it isn't really the exact Frost quote. But it says the only way out is through. So when we try to really go off course and avoid and just not be with the challenge, not be with the discomfort, we can't always find our way out. We might think we have, but usually it's just a temporary diversion. So getting okay with sitting with the crap, quite honestly, sometimes that's what it is. Sitting with it, being with it. And we'll practice that here tonight. Start to deepen your breath, or continue to deepen your breath. We'll take just a few more here. So really let yourself start to connect to that breathing. This breath, both on and off the mat, can help regulate the thoughts that spin out of control, our heart rate, our blood pressure, just by virtue of connecting to and deepening our breath. We can really work wonders within our whole self. Take one more big round of breath. And let's start to move from this first shape. However it looks for you, it might be a little different than mine, but closing your butterfly legs, maybe straightening out the legs or bending them if they were straight. If you have some blocks or something behind you, let's scoot that stuff out of the way. We'll hug the knees into the chest once you come back down to the mat. And just gently, kindly give your low back some love here. And then once you're set, let's rock and roll up to a seated position. You can take a couple trips back and forth. As many as you like, really. I just noticed I have a bunch of pool water and grass all over the end of my mat from my kids being out in the yard. So there's that acceptance. That's how it's going to be today during this practice. You're getting some fresh air and not looking at a screen. So I will be grateful for that. Let's sweep the arms up high. Big breath in. And take your fingers, interlace them, and then flip your palms away from the crown of your head. Really reach up, but try to soften in the shoulders at the same time. And then with another breath in, let's sit up a little bit taller. Just grow a little taller out of your waist. And on your exhale, side bend over to one side. Let your opposite sit bone really root down to the mat. So if it lifted up, come back a little bit. Come back to your center on an inhale. And exhale, take it over to the other side. Let's rise up through center, breath in. And on the exhale, press your palms forward. Roll up and over your sit bones and lean back, round your spine. So tuck your chin into your chest and hold here. It's almost like a cat spine from seated. Good, then release the hands and sit up. And as you breathe in again, lift the chest like a little mini cow spine, and then exhale, grab onto those shins and then really release back. Pull some space into your mid back here. Let's breathe in and sit up again. And exhale, release it back. Tuck everything in, navel to spine. And then release up to seated, up to neutral. And let's move to all fours, hands and knees. And then tuck your toes when you're ready. And exhale your hips high into a downward facing dog. Coming into it. So pressing those fingers into the mat, lifting the tailbone high. Letting the shoulders still be relaxed here. And fingers are spread, feet are active. If you want to walk the dog, pedaling into one knee at a time, staying with your breath. Let's come back to center, back to stillness in your dog. And then on an inhale, let's wave the body forward. So we're gonna come through a plank here and then take the knees down to the mat, bringing the chest through the biceps and coming into a high cobra. And then on the exhale, we'll send it right back where we came from, downward facing dog. On an inhale, rise up on the toes, hinge forward, soften the knees down, bring your chest through your arms, high cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes, hips go back high, downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. So coming down, knees softening, chest lifting, collarbones opening, and then exhale, down dog. Let's inhale here. And exhale, start to walk your hands back to a forward fold, back in the mat. Pause here, just really let your torso drape over your thighs. Your head might shake side to side, yes and no. Keeping a soft bend in the knees. Let's walk the hands over to the left edge of the mat. So feeling a little stretch along the right side body, right QL muscle, low back. Walk it back through center and take it over to the right. And the further you walk those left fingertips, you'll get a little more space there. Coming back through the middle and soften the knees with a breath in. Let's rise all the way up, sweep the arms high. And exhale, pull the hands into the heart center. Let the eyes close down. Take a few rounds of breath here. Maybe as you're taking these breaths, you think about that intention of acceptance. If you're coming with me on that intention, or maybe you brought another intention to your mat tonight. Let's take another round, breathing in this intention, and open your mouth, sigh out your exhale. Releasing anything standing between us in that intention. Let's sweep the arms around and up as you open your eyes. Take a little back bend here if you wish, and bow forward on the exhale. Inhale, take a lift halfway, flatten your back, extend your crown. Forward fold. Let's walk to the top of the mat, coming into a plank shape this time. So we have a few options here, and I think you guys all know these by now, but one of them, the kind of the path less traveled, if we're talking about Robert Frost here, we can always skip that push-up, take our back bend on an inhale, so dropping the knees, lifting the chest like we did just a few moments ago, and then exhaling into downward facing dog. So we can omit the push-up, the Chaturanga Dandasana, without omitting that nice back bend. So that was something, a place we can go. So let's hinge back forward. And knowing your options, we can lower into that Chaturanga on the exhale. Inhale, take in that back bend. And exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Maybe open mouth, exhale out. Another big breath in. And a breath out. This inhale, let's lift our heels. Knees bend, looking forward. Come to the top of the mat. Lift half. Fold on the exhale. Bend into the knees, rise up on the inhale. And from here, let's take an open arm twist to the right. So right arm sweeps down and back. Just turn the torso. That's our exhale. We sweep up through the center. And exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, come back to the middle. Maybe lean back, pressing your hips forward, and forward fold, exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Fold as you exhale. Let's plant the hands and step your left foot to the back of the mat for a low lunge. Making sure this right knee is stacked over the right ankle just to protect that knee joint. Set your left knee down. On an inhale, let's rise up to our low lunge here. Anjaneyasana, try to bring those biceps by the ears. Maybe you take your gaze slightly up. Drop your shoulders slightly down. And breathe here. Take another breath here. Get a little taller, a little longer through those arms. Exhale, bend your elbows. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, take your hands down to the mat. Tuck your back toes. Now let's walk the hands to this left edge of the mat, coming into a wide-legged fold. Drop in for a few breaths here. Feel your legs start to open up here. Maybe you bend side to side a couple times here. If that helps you, that movement helps you get into it. Or maybe you're breathing here in stillness. It's all good, whatever you need in your body. And we'll take a lift halfway, breath in. Fold as you breathe out, start to walk it back to the top of the mat, low lunge. And then step that right foot back to meet the left. Take your push up if you want it on the exhale. We'll take the back bend on the inhale, lifting the chest, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, exhaling to the top of the mat, forward fold, lift halfway, fold on your exhale, knees bend, rise on the inhale. We'll take those open arm twists, starting left this time. Breathing as, or exhaling as you twist, lifting through center as you breathe in. Good, coming back, leaning back, and releasing forward. Lift and extend the crown, breath in. As you exhale, let your hands step your right foot to the back of the mat, setting up that low lunge. Positioning your left foot to stack the joints, set your right knee down. Untuck the toes. Rise up with the arms. And then let the hips sink a little lower. Let your shoulders be relaxed. Keep that gaze lifted. Keep your hands active. Even press your right foot, the top of that right foot into the mat, as well as your left foot pressing into the mat. Everything active. Breath in. And exhale, bend the elbows. Take that cactus arm, chest opener. Inhale, sweep the arms high. And exhale, hands come down to the mat. Tuck your back toes. Lift that back knee. Let's walk it over to the right edge of the mat. Back into our wide-legged fold. And we can grab the back of the ankles here. You can walk your hands through your feet. You can do nothing at all but breathe. And let's release. Hands come back to center. Lift the chest halfway. Fold, exhale, come back to your lunge. Hands come to the top of the mat. Stepping back. Taking your version of your vinyasa, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Once you reach your down dog, inhale your heels lift. Exhale, knees bend. We come to the top of the mat. Lifting half on the breath in. Full on the exhale. Rise up to stand, arm sweep. And this time let the hips get low for chair pose. Utkatasana. Fierce pose. So feel fierce in this posture. Maybe the hips get a little lower. If the shoulders are feeling strained, you can either widen your arms to give those shoulder sockets a little more room here, or take the arms parallel to the earth. Get a little lower, possibly maybe. Breathe. And then next time you inhale, let's stand up, reach up, and take your left knee to the height of your hip. So your thigh is parallel to the mat. And then let's twist this open again. Breathe in. Exhale, left arm sweeps down and back. And you open up. Maybe this right hand connects to your knee. There's always an option to straighten the leg, binding your big toe. I'm not going to go there personally tonight, but I'm not stopping you. Let's take another breath here as we balance. If you're wobbling, is that something you can accept? Can you not get frustrated or irritated with yourself if you get wobbly in a balance? Let's come back up through center. And exhale, start to tilt forward as you send that left leg behind you, warrior three. So our hip is still closed down here. That means all 5 of my left toes are facing down toward the mat. Hands might pull into your heart center, or you can keep those arms reaching forward. Keep your belly pulling in. That'll help with the stability. Take another nice big breath here. And then carefully start to land your back toes in a lunge. So left heel is lifted. Let's sweep the arms up high. High crescent lunge. Right foot is forward. Take another breath here. On the inhale, find a little more length out your fingertips. On the exhale, bend your left knee along with your right. Take a double lunge and take those cactus arms. Good. Inhale, rise back up. And then exhale, pull your hands into your heart. Lower your back knee down to the mat with control. Untuck those toes. On the inhale, left hand comes down to the floor or a block maybe, and open that right arm high. Breathe here. So this is a place you can stay and just work on opening here, or maybe you bend that back knee and reach back. Hand and foot might come together. They might not. Don't strain for it. Let's release your foot if you've got it. Breathe in. On the exhale, close this right arm down, shift the hips back to a seated half splits. Ardha Hanumanasana. I'm working on my Sanskrit names and poses. It's a slow process. There's a lot of poses. Take another breath here. Flexion in your right toes. Let's come back forward. And lift your back knee, tucking the back toes. Spin that left heel down to the mat. Really root through your heel. 45-degree angle. We're setting up for warrior one. So rise up. And settle in here on your exhale. Take your hands down to your low back, interlace them. Breathe in, press your knuckles down toward the mat. Maybe you stay here breathing, or you can bow forward into your humbly bound warrior. We haven't gone here in a while. I haven't put this into a sequence in some time, and I love this pose. But notice the right hip is going to want to travel over to the right, so try to draw it into the center line. Keep your chin drawing into your chest, knuckles lifting. Breathe. Notice any thoughts that come up in your brain when you're in this very challenging position. Let's release the hands to frame your right foot. Spin onto the ball of your back foot. Step back. Take whatever version of your vinyasa that you would like. And meet me in downward facing dog. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Know that you can drop your knees and take the breaths in child's pose. And then when you're ready, come back to your down dog if you left it. Lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step or float forward, forward fold. Lifting halfway, inhaling, exhale, bow. Inhale, rise, sweep the arms. And then exhale, you guessed it, chair pose. We're back here, hips go low, weight shifts back in the heels. Relax your shoulders as much as you can. Maybe take that wider V with the arms. See if you can draw the shoulder blades together a bit more. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Next inhale, let's stand up straight. Arms lift, and right thigh comes with this time. Balancing here. Just feeling what it feels like to stand on one foot before we add on here. If you're fighting for that stability, you don't even have to add in the twist. But let's take another breath in. If you are adding that, the right arm sweeps down and back as you twist open to your right. You might keep both arms teed out or connecting to that outer thigh to leverage a little further into the twist. Your gaze might go back to your back thumb. Maybe you get wobbly then. Sometimes I have to will myself to try to get a little wobbly because I know that that's where I'm pushing past that edge of comfort where I feel, really super safe. And then we'll sweep it back to the center. Arms lift. Exhale, hinge forward. Find that warrior three. Right foot presses back. So now we're making another T shape with the whole body. Fingertips to that right heel. Hands can come to heart center as well. Breathe. Keep a slight little upward dog in the chest. Keep that belly pulling in. Take another breath. And then we'll land those back toes carefully into our high crescent lunge, arms sweep high. Right heel is still lifted. Settle in, maybe lunge a little deeper into that left leg. Inhale, reach a little taller. And then exhale, take that double lunge. Bend the back knee, bend your elbows. Maybe you look up. Inhale, reach up, straighten your back leg. Exhale, pull the hands into heart center as you carefully drop that right knee all the way down. Untuck your right toes. Right hand to the inside of your left foot. Breathe that left arm open, twist. Those feel really super good and supported here, at least in my body at this moment. If you want to add in that quad stretch, if you need that, adding that in. And sometimes it's if we need it, sometimes it's if we want it, whether it's a modification, whether it's a add-on. Just have to listen to what your body's telling you. Let's close this all down on an exhale as we shift the hips back. Straightening that left leg, flexing the toes, half splits. I heard something this week. It said that the most authentic, or maybe you think of it as the most advanced way to practice yoga is listening to the body. It's not about doing the wildest, most advanced poses. It's listening when your body says, go a little further or take a step back. Coming back into our lunge. Come back forward into that left leg. Come off of your back knee and spin that heel down. Root into the right heel, rise up. Warrior one. Take a moment to settle here. Left hip's moving back in space a bit. Hands come to the low back, interlace the fingers, maybe the opposite thumb on top, lift the chest, breath in, and exhale, bow forward if you're taking it there. So my left hip is wanting to migrate over that direction, so pulling it into the midline. Even if the hips go a little out of that squared alignment, it's okay. Just keep that active hugging in. Keep your crown dropping down if you're in this humbly bound. That also rhymed really nicely. Let's take another breath. And bring your hands to frame your foot, carefully releasing, exhaling, coming back to your plank, maybe chaturanga. Breathing in, back bend. Breathing out, downward dog. Another opportunity, breathe in your dog for a few breaths here, or drop the knees, take a well-earned child's pose. Good place to reset, whether you're taking it more active or taking a resting pose. Let's come to table if you're in child's, and we'll meet our friends in downward facing dog, whoever stayed there. And then on your next inhale, you move the big toes a little closer together. Lift your right leg high, bend your knee to open your hip here. So another opportunity, if you like to flip over, begin that right foot all the way to the floor. Left leg can stay bent or straighten out for Wild Thing. Lifting your hips, lifting your heart. If this does not appeal to you, don't worry about it. We'll come back to our three-legged dog. Lifting high, and exhale, bringing that foot between the hands, low lunge. Inhale, open up to warrior two. So adjust your feet, adjust your shirt if you need to. I keep adjusting my clothes a lot today. I don't know what that's about, but shoulders nice and relaxed here. Let's turn the right palm high, reach up and back, straighten into that right leg as you find this extension. Reverse triangle. Keep that front leg straight, tee the arms out, bump that left hip back, reaching forward, move into your triangle pose. Right hand down, left arm rises. Breathe. One more big breath. And then shift your gaze down at your right toes. Bend into this right knee. We're coming up for our half moon. So, of course, my blocks are way over here. Good place for a prop, even if you have to release your pose to get one. And lift that left leg up, opening this left hip. So if you have a block here, or even if your hand is down, it's kind of kitty corner to your right standing leg. So you can form a little more sturdy base that way. And then if you want to play with your balance a little bit more, you can see about floating that right hand or not. So take another breath in, get expansive across your chest, and then exhale, take your left hand down to the mat. Keep that left leg lifted. So standing splits, or maybe more of a standing L for most bodies. Take a breath in, find a little more length out your left toes. Exhale, bend both knees, take a little curtsy squat. So your left knee tucks behind your right. Inhale, lift us back up into your standing splits. Exhale, bend both knees. Take your left shin down to the mat. Your left knee is going to position itself right behind your right heel. Okay, so we're in a really super short low lunge. Come up, bring your hands to heart center. Katie and I did this over the weekend. So you feel here, your stabilization muscles are working like crazy just to keep you balanced. Breathe in with your chest lifted. Exhale, find a prayer twist to your right. So we're not calling on our big movers, our hamstrings, our quads quite as much, although they are working, but it's those stabilization muscles that are really being called upon here. And release your twist. Take your hands down to the mat. And then let's stand up one more time. Extend, left leg high, stretch your right leg out, and then close it down to a forward fold. Yes, yes. Hang out here, shake your head. If you would benefit from stepping back and taking a sun salutation, go for it, or just hang out here in this forward fold. Maybe widen your feet. Ragdoll if you want it, any other variation. Sometimes we clear out with movement, sometimes just a little bit of stillness is what's needed. And we'll all meet in this forward fold, feet coming together, knees softening. Let's rise up. And pull your hands into your heart center. We have one more chair pose, so come back. Breathe here. And take another breath in. Twist to your right on your exhale. Prayer twist. Inhale, come back to your center. And exhale, twist left. Inhale, come back through center, rise up, stand up, back bend, exhale, bow forward. Let's lift halfway, breath in, forward fold, hands plant, make your way to your downward facing dog. I'm stepping straight back. You can take one of your, maybe your last vinyasa. When we get there, we'll lift the left leg high, bend the knee, open your hip. If you're flipping over, take that foot to the mat, lifting the hips, lifting the heart. Nice big back bend here, coming back around, three-legged. Breath in, exhale, foot plants between the hands. Rise up, warrior two. Back foot rooted, arms tee out, front knee bent, knee stacking over the ankle, as per always, protecting that knee, and we'll reach up and back, straighten the left leg, reverse triangle. Exhale, leave the leg straight, maybe your right foot bumps in, and find Trikonasana here on the left. Left hand down, right arm open. Your left hip is hugging under your body here. Take another breath. Shift the gaze down to your left toes, soften this left knee, and move into that half moon. Using your prop, again, taking it a little bit over to the left, not quite in front of your toes, just to broaden your base a bit here. Allowing the hip to open, the shoulder girdle to open. Still trying to wrap that left hip under. Peeling that right hip open. Another breath. And bring that right hand down. Keep your right leg lifted. Breathe in, finding your standing splits. Exhale, take your curtsy squat and both knees bend. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, curtsy, take your shin, right shin, all the way down for this super short lunge. It's not even really that much of a lunge, just sort of looks like one. And come up through the chest, balance here. Feel that shaking, that instability. Can we be okay with it? Breathe in. Press your right foot into the top, or top of the foot into the mat. Exhale, find your twist. Breathe here. Let yourself get wobbly. It's okay. Let's release. Hands come into the mat. A little stability there. And press into that left foot. Lift your right leg high. And exhale, take your forward fold. Right foot meets the left. Ha. So good. Shake your head, pedal your knees. And from here, let's plant the palms, step the feet back to a plank shape. Your knees can lower or keep them up. We're going to lower really nice and slowly all the way down to the belly. I'm just going to count, but I'm just going to let you go as quickly or not as you want. And once you get to your belly, let's tee the arms open. I've got a little beetle that joined me here, so I'm just gonna hope he doesn't crawl into my hair. Acceptance, right? We got nature on my mat tonight. Bring your right ear down if I didn't say that already. And then with your arms still out to this nice T shape, let's draw the right knee, sliding it across the floor, bringing your knee toward your right elbow, making kind of a Spider-Man shape. This is our half frog position. And by the way, if twisting your gaze away from your bent knee is a little too intense, you can always take the left ear to the mat. Or neutralize the neck, bringing the forehead to stacked palms, or wherever you can make this shape work for you. Keeping your left leg where it is, start to draw your arms in and prop yourself up onto your elbows for a Sphinx pose with a half frog leg. If that's bothering any of your joints, your knee, your hip, your SI possibly, you can always dial it back, bringing the chest back down. Let's take another breath here. And then let your chest come back down on an exhale and allow your right leg to straighten back out. Bring those arms back up to a T, bring the right ear to the mat. And then flatten your left palm, bending your elbow. Let's take a little shoulder opening here, rolling the left hip up, left hip stacks on top of the right. You can bend that left knee. My right arm is still teed out here. Right shoulder head is pinned to the mat here. I'm a little limited by how close my wall is, but you can always lessen the intensity on that shoulder if it's needed by angling your fingers down to kind of a low V there instead of a T. Let's take another breath here. And then return to the belly. Slowly coming down here. Take your left palm, stack your forehead on top of your left hand here, and just wrap your right arm, drape it across your low back, just as a little counter stretch here. Let's take a few breaths here, releasing that shoulder. And unwrap your right arm. Let's go back to your T shape with left ear down to the mat this time. Just take a moment, take a couple breaths here. When you're ready, let's add in that half frog, Spider-Man leg, left knee bending. My heel is an extension of my knee. This side I'm definitely having a little harder time maintaining in my neck, my head being turned to the side. It's not painful, so I'll stay with it with the breath, but it just goes to show that sometimes something works a little better in one side of the body than the other. Without any judgment of that, we can make any changes accordingly. And if you'd like to add in Sphinx, lifting your chest, coming up to your elbows. Make sure the elbows are stacked under your shoulders for that nice stable base. Another breath here. And lowering back down to the mat. Left ear down, straighten your left leg back out. And then coming into this nice scapular release. Rolling onto the left hip, right hip stacking above, bending that knee, kickstanding your right foot. Nice deep, slow breaths. Notice what you're feeling. Noticing the thoughts that arise. Being okay with all of it. Even that stuff we might perceive as crappy. Whether it's a feeling in the body, thought pattern, a mood. Being okay with our crappiness. Usually our better route to the other side. And we'll release this nice, lovely shoulder stretch. And it's a pretty good twist too in the spine. And let's see. Oh yeah, like we did something else here. Take your right hand, use that like a little pillow. Wrap your left arm behind your back here. Let's give it a few breaths. You might even take your thumb knuckle here, pressing it into that space between your brows. And just kind of landed there, and it feels really, really good. And once you're ready, let's bring the hands by your rib cage, press it back to a child's pose. Round your spine and maybe allow those arms to rest right by your sides, reaching back toward your feet. And it's time for that final, ever important resting pose of Shavasana. And Shavasana is a pose. It's not just an absence of other poses. But we have that choice that we make in every single shape. We can take whatever it is that we need from our final resting pose. So if you are in this child's pose, feeling like I could be here for the next few minutes, you can end your practice here. You can take something else on your way down to a more traditional Shavasana, or just move your way right there. So follow your inner guide. Remembering that's your most authentic way to practice, listening to yourself. Once you get to that place, really allow yourself to drop in, getting as relaxed as possible in your whole self. Your physical body as well as your thinking body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. Let it all align and be at ease. Continuing to listen to yourself. Please stay as long as you need to in your final shape. If and when you are ready to start to deepen your breath, come back into a little bit of movement. Let's take it nice and slowly, taking all the time you need to make your way to a comfortable seated position. Once you get there, just notice again how you feel. Notice what has shifted. Notice what you've maybe been able to accept in your body, any part of your body in this last hour. And then we'll sweep the arms up high with the big breath in, fill up, lift the gaze, exhale as you bring your hands down to your heart center. Resting here in prayer, bowing the chin into the chest. As always, say thank you so much for practicing with me tonight. It is my honor to guide you, to be here with you, and lifting those thumbs to the third eye center, space between the brows, honoring one another. We stay together. Namaste.